crunch time plans. Is that what you're calling this?
Yes.
So it is the middle of summer. It's as hot as can be. And I guess this is our crunch time for projects. And now we have one right here.
Yes.
What's our first project that we want to do in this moldering heat?
So, first off, if you can hear the goat screaming, that is Winter screaming at her baby that is 2 feet behind her. It's ridiculous. This is her mothering skills. She is a very overbearing mother. So this here is a weird space. When we had the ponies, this is kind of where I worked with the ponies here.
Yeah, this is kind of our riding area, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's very small, but keep in mind, when we had them, they weren't tame.
Yeah.
So the space wasn't a factor. Now, what we're going to do here is utilize this because we're moving into more, as we're working nonstop to do rotational areas for the goats and sheep. This spot here, which is behind our emu house, is going to be, so what we're trying to do here is figure out the planning. We have a huge, very, what is the word? Aspiring goal. It is July 26th, and we want to fence the rest of the project before December 31st. Now, if you followed along, you'll know that our property is not open ground like here.
Yes.
Now, first steps between doing that and this is final preparation of where we're going to be moving some creatures. Here is where I'm hoping to move the sheep.
Okay.
As their own spot. I want to actually try to finish this weekend. This is a weekend project for me. Now, I am not a carpenter. Clearly, you guys
and this is how far the building is right now, and you're going to do that in a weekend? God, you got to see the after one. We'll tune in on Sunday, and you'll see one of those boards has moved slightly, and that's about where we're going to leave it.
So I'm not a carpenter as much as you guys are definitely shocked to see some of the buildings.
No!
But I am doing this, for the most part, we have to divide and conquer a lot of our projects.
Yes.
Which is very hard to do. So you have to come up with ways that work with your skill set, your budget, your time, and energy level. Mine is pole barns.
Right.
Now, before any of you lovely people critique me and, blah, this is how I've done it. And I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying it works for me in the time frame that we've had one that I've done. It's still up 4 years, no signs of issues, so we're gonna move forward with doing it my way.
It's been up for 4 years, and the one that we bought from store-bought is rotting out.
Yes.
And is basically going to be
basically just dismantled.
Yep. And so it goes to show that just because something's store-bought doesn't mean it's better. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this could cost me thousands of dollars to do this. So basically this is about an 8 by 16 foot shelter is what I'm doing. So this here will end up going into the ground in 8-foot sections.
Okay.
And now I do this because I don't want to cut.
Right.
Because cutting is not accurate with my saw that is dying.
Right.
So I need to I want to work with what I can do on my own.
Work with the material that you know you're going to be using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it. So
right.
Almost everything I build now is in 8-foot sections because that is the length of OSB and plywood.
Oh, yes. Okay. Right.
So it's a 4 by 8, right?
Yeah.
And so typically there's 2 ways this might go. Winter's babies are chronic complainers. So, and I haven't fully decided on how this is going to work. So these posts will go in.
Right.
And I will either do a bottom board, a middle board that will catch that 4-foot high OSB, and then a top one, which will be my, basically the ceiling. It'll catch another board, and that's where my rafters will base off of. Or I will do no OSB or no 2x4s in between, and do 2 pallets together in between each post. Now, why I might do that? Pallets are free.
And readily accessible.
Readily accessible.
And they're hardy.
And a lot of them that we're able to get is hardwood.
Yeah.
Amazing,
Right.
right? So it's actually going to last up to weather and the elements a lot better as well. Now, saying that, that is where my hopefully finish it on the weekend comes, because that is 2, 4, 6, 8, about 13-ish pallets is kind of what I'll be having.
Right.
Now, it's going to have the gaps, but it is going to block the sun.
Right.
And then we can basically decide if we're going to put a smart panel or OSB on the outside, painted and whatnot. Or if, because of our time crunch...
I know. We're working with animals, guys. This is reality.
We are, potentially just going to wrap it for the winter too.
Right.
Which works. And it would still be a shelter. It's going to be not a 3-sided shelter because I am going to make it so that I can close the door. I like to have that because of, weather, and I just like to be able to make sure that I have a way to contain them if I need to. That's our little zebra. He is under the weather and highly medicated, so not quite aware of it right
That's
now.
all right.
So that is this project. Low roof. I'm short.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to build things.
Sheep
that
are short.
way. And sheep are short.
We only need it big enough that we can comfortably get in and clean.
As long as I can go like this.
Yep.
Which is the form you're going to take when you're shoveling.
Yep, exactly.
That's as high as it needs to go. Because for me, being super short, I really struggle with things that are too high.
Yeah.
So that's our plan for here. Why here? Ta-da! This is what we have to work with. So this is going to end up opening up.
And this is going to be one of our rotational fields.
One of our rotational fields. Now, in one of the previous videos, we showed you our one of our expansions there. And it didn't take up a whole area, so we still have another side. So basically, what might happen, the barn will be here, they'll have a hay feeder here, and I already have some posts set that we were originally going to use, changed our mind, and left them. Now, with this design, what I'm thinking is that we will use them here, and we'll fence down, and this will be the alleyway that they get to take, and then it's going to open up back there. Now, it could change.
Yep.
But as you can see, most of our property is this.
Woods.
Wood. We do have a few little clearing spots. Basically, our last expansion is the clearing spot.
Yes.
So everything else, we have to do it ourselves.
We're so excited to have that finished today. By today, I mean this season. Yes. And now we just got the opportunity to finish the property.
And we have to do it.
And that's so exciting.
So what we're going to be working on, and we'll take you on an adventure because sometimes it's hard to kind of plan things out as you're going. So we can actually show you my process when we're trying to figure out what we feel like the property should lay out, what works best, our future goals that we hope to achieve, whether or not we do, because you have to plan for what you're hoping to do, because otherwise you just waste money and time. So we're going to be planning this out. We're going to be chainsawing like you have never seen. So if you have a chainsaw and you are safe in using said chainsaw and you want to donate some time, get some sun, pet a cooney pig, come on down.
Or
definitely, or some emus. Definitely come on down. We could definitely use the help with this. If you want to donate your time with an excavator, just saying, or a mulcher, or a wood chipper.
Oh, wood chipper.
Basically anything, we welcome the help. So don't hesitate to offer. Please offer. So it's quite exciting about this. I am super thrilled because we're going to have the rotations. So we have a few down front. We have the emus who have their field.
They have their own dedicated field.
The sheep and goats are enjoying as well, which is kind of nice because they only graze so much. So that's quite nice. Then we have our other one, which we did in a video of showcasing what can happen when you get excavated and that lovely design that gets left over. Now, we're just going to take a quick stroll.
Sorry. I was just zoomed in to take a look at that dirt pile.
Oh, it's awful. Now,
Once again, that's nothing against the excavating guy, because all that stuff has to go somewhere. But it wasn't something we were considering, right? We were just thinking, hey, you're going to scoop the top layer, everything's going to be nice and comfortable. But there's all this leftover right in front of us. That whole pile of leftover.
and it's unfortunate because you have to pay to remove this.
Yeah.
We didn't want it buried because as it gets buried, it decomposes and creates sinkholes.
Right.
We have that in the front yard or backyard. Do not want it here where we will potentially have heavy creatures walking and damage their legs. Now, we're also going to be working at creating rotations in our existing field. This one was a previous expansion that we did. We have a few more limbs to cut on trees, but you can kind of get an idea by just kind of looking straight ahead here what we're going with. So what we did is we limbed up a lot of trees in the back, and we're working forward, and it's creating shade but enough light for the sun, and it's also food for them that they really enjoy. We're actually going to be cutting this one in half as part of our rotation so that we can control where they are, control the food source. When one ground area is really bad, this one is going to be drier and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if we've ever done a follow-up of our expansion.
I don't know if we did. No, not the new one.
So, did you want to go see?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little bit of a walk. We have a pretend gate because everyone's super trustworthy. Knock on wood. And by that, I don't mean they're trustworthy. I mean they are chicken littles. And they'll only go there if I take them. And then when they realize that I'm gone, they chase me. But we do have a special guest with us who I think is going to join the trip. And this is Confused,
The confused turkey
the meat turkey.
who goes on walks with us. He hiked all the way up here by himself.
Yeah. She's so confused. I love her.
We did a video on her before.
Cuddling with pigs.
Yep.
Eating with goats.
She doesn't know what she
Cuddling with
is.
sheep. And cuddling with goats. So you can see it. Animals make their own preferred path.
But you can see what we were going with when we cut all the lower limbs. It's very comfortable walking. This was all done by us. So we still keep the greenery on top for shade. And it's very comfortable walking down low.
So you can see where we didn't finish.
Yeah.
But you can see where we did.
Yeah.
And this is so beautiful, and they love it because they can camp out when they're done eating. They can chew their cud, and they can, you know, just be out of the sun, but still be outside and not in a building, which they enjoy. Hi. All right, let's go see our expansion. This is it now.
It's kind of green.
It's kind of green.
Wow.
Kind of beautiful. Now, they enjoy this so much when they follow me back here. And the best part is we get to learn the land
Yes.
after they've done some grazing. And it was relatively easy, actually, I think, to do it. After 4 years, we really finalized like how we do fencing. This took 2 days of partial work
Yeah.
to
Yep.
do. It's
We
not
got the
perfect.
post pounding and the fencing done to kind of a science. No, it's not perfect. We don't use a machine to tension the wire, but you know,
Yeah. And
because
back-
that would really slow us down a lot.
Yeah. And back here, I put the post farther than I normally would, only because we're going to also put hot wire,
Yes.
which is electric, which will actually keep them away from the fence itself, so they won't pursue standing on it or anything like that. So here we are on kind of the property line, and we go back here. We may as well go back because this is basically also, we're going to figure out together, Dean and I, where to start this project. We want to fence the rest of this property, which is 10 acres, before December 31st.
But the lay of the land is going to determine where, because of course it's heavily forested. So we're not going to chop a hole through the forest. If 50 feet away, it looks like this and there's a trail. So we just kind of have to take it as it goes as to how it looks.
Where we left off and went up, so this is the end of our expansion that we did. It's super green, super beautiful. We did a lot of work. You know, we took the path of least resistance, but also one that makes sense. So now we have to figure out, is this where we start?
Well, this is not where we start because this is the middle.
So it basically is there. So we could end up going there and come around, or
Because if we start here, we would lose a lot being this far off the property line.
we have a patch of
Yep.
of easy, and that looks like, and we're very lucky, I will say, because we did have this property surveyed before we bought it, so we can actually follow the really, really wide, it's probably about this wide, track that they went when they were doing the surveying.
Right.
So we can follow that and connect back. But you can kind of see how, you know, if you're trying to plan things, it can be overwhelming.
Yes.
Because you're looking at this and you're probably thinking, why bother?
Well, this is all food.
It's all food. Horses? No.
Yeah.
You know. So, and the bugs are fun.
That's another good thing about when the goats and the sheep eat this down. It eliminates the bugs so much.
So,
We have a paw print.
We have a paw print.
Bobcat?
No, I'd say coyote. Coyote, probably. I don't know what a fox print looks like.
That looks awful big for a fox.
But it's not Cujo and it's not beetle. Because theirs are like that. So, this is not as far as I thought.
Oh, this is the property line. I had no idea what you were doing. Okay.
So, as you can see, we do still have our work cut out because they do have these, you know, really deep ditches that we'll have to figure out.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see the elevation here, but it's huge. There's a huge, like right here, it's at least 4 feet high.
Yeah.
So it's a hard drop. This is a hard spot for, and then you see the neck, yeah.
So this is going to be, this one, so what we would probably do here is just maybe step in a little.
Jeez, but where? It's interesting.
So this is the other line. Yeah, I think it's here. I don't think we go there. I think we stop here. So, if you look up, you might have to zoom, but you can actually see the post. So we don't have a ton. This is not a bad direction to maybe come down. I'm thinking it's doable.
Yeah, we'll have to do a lot of stump cutting.
A lot of stump cutting. And
then we head this way.
So this one is going to be tricky. So we might actually have to cut through.
Oh, there's our line. Or our.
So we might actually have to cut through here into the ditch. Or cut through here.
Yeah.
Now we'll lose a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's okay.
Well, it's got to be practical.
Because we don't want to work ourselves to the bone.
No, especially where there's this perfect trail. We might as well follow it. It's just we're not going to build onto a hill because that makes it really tricky.
It's so tricky.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what I think we're going to be doing, I guess, is starting there.
Let's walk up it and get a real feel for the terrain. See, already just walking like this is a big drop right here. Elevation changes are terrible for fence, especially abrupt ones.
Yes.
Because the fence doesn't bend. You know, if it's a slight hill, that's different. See, now it's a little better. Yeah, it's not too bad here.
Oh, looks like we got some tree fall that we'll have to deal with here.
Yeah.
You find it, Jade.
That's easy, though. We can just cut either side of that with a chainsaw and move through.
Little poops.
Jessica
Deer.
loves her deer.
Now, I say that I like deer. I like them on other properties that aren't mine.
Yeah.
And this is going to show you why.
Oh, yeah, I already see it. That's why Cujo needs to be out.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Someone was coming in or going out, which is funny because it's open over there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, they are not smart enough to know that.
Yeah. But the problem is once they do this,
Yeah.
is now...
It'll never be 100% again.
So we're going to have to end up posting it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's an invitation
Yeah.
for the goats to get out. So
Yeah.
this is an interesting expansion. Yeah, I like it. I mean, you look through the woods, it's more interesting. I love the woods. So
Yeah.
I guess this will be our expansion,
Yep.
which also solves the issue. We had run out of wire, and so we were just waiting on getting more. Now we won't have to worry so much about closing it off
Right.
right away.
Yeah.
Because we'll have this, we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
And so right now, I would say we probably have 5 acres fenced, maybe 6
Right.
in the 4 years. So,
Yeah.
you know, we have a few more acres to go, the roughest of the acres
Yeah.
to go. But it took us 4 years to get to this point.
Right.
We do 1 expansion a year. This year we started this early, thank
Yes.
God, because it's 30 plus degrees every day.
Yeah.
And now we're going to do this before December 31st,
Awesome.
which means we need toboggans to get the wire back here.
We need a lot of things.
If you have an ATV you're not using for the weekend, we could use it. But this is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting because it's progress and
Right.
planning, and we worked so hard to get here.
Mhm.
And then once we have this, you know, this fence and everything done, and they come in and do their job, then we look at it, then we decide how we move forward with excavation,
Right.
mulcher. You know, we're going in and picking out selective trees so that they have their shade. It's going to be amazing. It's a big progress, but you can see how we start.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's daunting.
Yeah. You can see where we start. It's all forest. And you can see where this video started. And that's after the animals go through it. It's a field.
Yeah.
So they do all that. We
Yeah.
basically just make the line for the fence, and then they turn a forest into a field.
And it's amazing.
It is amazing.
We
It's
do
amazing to
have
see.
stumps
Yep.
still, but what they can do when they're forced to be in an area and not follow me around is impressive.
Yeah.
You know, because all down front, once we first moved here, we didn't have the space to put our first barn.
Right.
And we fenced in like a field area like this the first time just to get them here. And now you would never know that that was a forest.
No, exactly.
So it can happen.
Yep.
It just takes time.
Well, thanks for joining, guys. And that's the pre-planning part.
Pre-planning.
And then you'll see the updates as they get done.
Yeah.
So, well, you'll have to tune in Sunday when she has that entire building built out of pallets.
It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. You guys check that date and see if it happens. Okay.